Hello, good afternoon from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. My name is Rod Forsyth, and I am very anxious about our upcoming Canadian election. The drip, drip, drip of fear and separate ideas and dysfunctional provinces concerns me today. First and foremost, I'm a Canadian. I'm a Canadian that's lived in Toronto, Ajax, Banff, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Penticton, Vancouver, and Calgary. And if the egregious actions of our current government have any indication of what could happen in the future being governed by those people, I think we should all be ashamed of ourselves, and we should be able to take account that if we'd done this in our vocation and our work and our jobs, we wouldn't have a job right now. When did we become so separate? What I mean by that is, I've heard from parents over the past 6 or 7 years while my kids have been going to university out east that kids from Alberta are referred to as dirty money. They're actually looked down on. I don't get it. The last time I looked, universities looked at qualifications on exam tests, volunteering opportunities before they would make an offer to a kid to come and continue the schooling at their school. I know from personal history that most of the kids that I've been around have worked really hard, been very transparent, have done their best, and by doing that, they've created themselves to be as good as they can possibly be. And if they're as good as they can possibly be, they make their families better. And if they make their families better, they make their communities better. And if they make their communities better, they make their cities better. If they make these cities better, they make their provinces better. And if we make our provinces better and they make our provinces better, we make our country better. We make our country better, we make the world better. So I don't get it. The behavior towards Alberta young adults has come from someplace. And I'm going to say it comes from a lot of different left-wing kind of places, i.e. the environmental protests that are funded by American companies that then gets posted onto social media. And unfortunately, our politicians are involved. The teachers are involved, teaching their students in other parts of our country. I mean, shouldn't we be one country first? Joined at the hip? Participating in this as probably the best country to live on the planet? I think so. We require a reset. I'm just looking at some notes here. And we need a national conversation from every province, every territory, and all the First Nations people. And then we have to involve all the climate people. The climate people that are professing doom and gloom, and the climate people that are saying it's all made up. We need a global warming debate because a lot of people don't think it's even true. The media sure does, though. We need nation builders, economists. We need everybody to help us have a discussion to reignite our country. A new Canadian initiative to pull us together instead of pushing us apart would be a worthy conversation towards next, wouldn't it? I mean, we're Canadians. We're not a group of separate entities, although that's what we're acting like today. We can do better together. I am from Alberta. And yes, I'm going to talk about energy. We need Alberta energy to get us through the next few decades and possibly the rest of our lives. The case stands that the oil sands produce some of the cleanest, safest, most environmentally friendly sources of energy on this planet, and the only people that don't think so are us. Isn't that crazy? We could be self-sufficient country in energy. Everybody could participate in it. More monies would be generated for social programs by using our own oil and gas instead of shipping it in from wherever it comes from. It's just a thought. Deficit spending. Well, here's what Winston Churchill said. We contend that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. Our youth can't afford billions of dollars of deficits moving forward for years and years and years. I mean, the spending legacy will leave our children in a massive hole for the rest of their lives. I don't want to do that. You? As Canadians, we have to figure out a way to get our country more proactive and streamlined in all facets. Revenue Canada, healthcare, education. I mean, do we require an economy of scale where provinces should actually share the best resources they have with each other? Take down the trade barriers between provinces so things can flow freely? I mean, why today is there so much duplicity in services costing all of us billions of dollars? It's okay if some people listening to this are not okay with my position, because hopefully it's going to cause more conversation before next Monday. I mean, today Canada is frightening. With outside monies funding environmental groups, including the Tides Foundation, we're not sure what's real and what's not. We only know what the media tells us we should believe instead of reporting the news from all sides. We dearly need all Canadians to dig deep into what this means for our future. A reporter by the name of Vivian Krause is worth a listen. And if you get a chance, please have a look and look her up online. She explains the situation about what's actually going on with environmental groups targeting Alberta's oil to keep the prices low so the Americans can make huge profits. I don't know. Climate change. There's a hot topic. And whether or not you believe it, there are two very different views from scientists on what's real and what's not. One thing from the what's not say is CO2 isn't the problem. Pollution, on the other hand, is. And we as people on the planet have a responsibility to pay attention to our waste. Our buying power can change packaging, plastics, recycling, and much more. And remember, the sun probably has a lot more to do with our client than anybody is actually telling you about. As for population, it seems that the Earth will max out in about 2040, and by then we might even have a little bit better idea on how to deal with this whole situation. A fellow named Jordan Peterson says nobody knows how to deal with this, so what are we all funding it for? We're going to go broke, for goodness sake. For everyone I know and I don't know, I believe every province and territory is better as one. Remember what happened in 2008? Remember that financial crisis where nobody knew if they were actually going to get through this? Well, you know what? We all got through it. We all got a little more responsible. We certainly got more physically responsible in our own affairs. And since the early 80s, we've been told time and time and time again, the world is going to end, the temperature's going to go up, the seas are going to rise. Well, I got news for you. It seems like the world is actually beginning to cool again. The sea levels haven't gone up, and the temperatures have been set over the course of the Earth going up and going down, not related to the amount of fuel or coal that we burn. Oh yeah, coal. That's another conversation. We all have a lot to do to make this country the best country on the planet again. Together with everyone on board, we can actually begin a new experiment. Put our differences behind us and work as one. What a concept. I don't think I've heard one of our political leaders bring that up. Many thanks for listening, and if I wasn't Canadian, I wouldn't say sorry for the length of this rant. I know one thing for sure. We can do this. We need your help. Get out and vote. And when you do vote, remember, we don't deserve everything. We only deserve what we can pay for. Putting our kids in debt is no way to go through the rest of our lives. I hope you have a wonderful day from Calgary, Alberta. Go Canada, go.